choreographed chaos. And that's the angle. Joining me now is the man who confronted Mayor Lightfoot on that leaked audio. I'm delighted to be joined by Raymond Lopez, Alderman of Chicago's 15th Ward. We spent some time in the 15th Ward last fall. Alderman Lopez, first of all, thank you for being here. And now you and I probably aren't on the same page politically on all that much, but I was shocked to hear how Mayor Lightfoot spoke to you. You're an elected official, and you were expressing concern about your ward. She said that you were preening. Your response?
Yes, unfortunately, that's not the first time that the mayor and I have engaged in this kind of discussion. And, you know, she and I both won my ward. I will, as its representative to the city council. She is our mayor. And it's really unfortunate for the people that we both represent to not be able to work together despite attempts in the past, especially during one of the most horrific times in our city's history, when quite literally people were, as you said, creating organized chaos in our neighborhoods. And I was basically pleading for help, pleading for her to take serious the concerns that we had seen in the neighborhoods. And it was not only falling on deaf ears, it was outright dismissed.
Alderman, I want to point to you and walk through some of the shocking violence that Chicago's seen since George Floyd's death on May 25th. There have been at least 50 murders and more than 250 shootings. And then, of course, there was a staggering death count on May 31st when 18 people were killed in a 24-hour period, the bloodiest day in 60 years. Alderman, what is going on in Chicago?
You know, right now we have a lot of people with a lot of pent-up energy and emotion and anger. And in many cases, the anger is 100% accurate, particularly following the horrific events that led to George Floyd's murder. But you also have to realize that Chicago has also been on lockdown because of COVID. That mixed with the anger and the growing racial tensions that have existed, the lack of police accountability, true police accountability, not emotional accountability, but true police accountability, has led to almost like a state of lawlessness. And we've seen our attempts to ask for more resources, more police, more security in our neighborhoods, again being rebuffed. A number of aldermen and I have stepped up and asked for the National Guard to come and assist our police officers in maintaining the safety and security of our city so that they could provide presence so that our police could do their job. And that plea was actually ignored again. And we need to remind ourselves that this is not who we are. We are better than this. And the only way that we can get past this is if we check our egos, check our political point making, and actually focus on the task at hand, which is to help all our neighborhoods and indeed our entire country.
Alderman, Lori Lightfoot said it would be a disaster if the National Guard were to be brought in. In Minneapolis, they didn't have that experience. They got things under control pretty quickly. Oh, I mean, it's a disaster when I see the pictures of those streets that I actually got to know fairly well.
Well, we obviously have a history with the National Guard going back to the 1960s with Richard J. Daley issuing the shoot-to-kill order and things of that nature, with the police during the race riots back then. So we are very aware of the optics, but this is not the same time. And many of the communities that were impacted, particularly on the city's south and west side, home to many African Americans, were also wanting their neighborhoods to be safe. They wanted to be secure. And unfortunately, the only place that we saw the deployment of the National Guard was in the downtown district of the city of Chicago. You know, for 2 days they were downtown guarding the perimeter while we saw the organized attack on our communities, institutions, our pharmacies, our grocery stores, and not able to get the resources from the police department because they were busy playing whack-a-mole, basically, trying to chase these looters who had come to our city to cause havoc.
But Alderman, I have to ask this question really bluntly. What would defunding the police, taking a third of their budget, as is being recommended by many, or dismantling them altogether, I didn't get that sense from the people in Southwest Chicago. I didn't get the sense that that's what they want. I'm sure people want reforms. That's fine. But what would that do to businesses and their confidence, really quickly?
You know, I'll just say this real quickly. It's easy to call for defunding police when you live in a safe neighborhood. Many neighborhoods throughout the city of Chicago get along with their police, work hand in hand to solve many of their issues. And if you were to leave them to the wolves, you would be putting them already at a greater disadvantage than they are now. You know, one of the things that we saw out of Minneapolis that I think was right was to reevaluate where your 911 calls are coming from and what they're coming for, and assign funding accordingly. That's part of the defund movement that I can support. To say that if you're going to dismantle the police department, you are putting lives even more in danger. You know, we have to.
Yeah, Alderman, I want to have you back, and I want to keep this conversation going. I think both parties can work together for common sense solutions. All this other stuff has just got to be pushed to the wayside. People are dying. We want everyone to live by the laws. We want everyone to be accountable across the board. But you got to keep businesses in Englewood and all of the difficult neighborhoods in Chicago. The businesses have got to have confidence to stay. Thank you for speaking up and making your voice heard. And I'm just really glad you came on tonight, Alderman. Thanks so much, and keep in touch.
Thank you, Laura. Have a great night.
All right.